again, and welcome to Roland's Reviews. As you enter the chat, folks, please hit that like button. Let's see what President Trump is saying as I continue to get things ready for us today.
Security there than any place. We'll be meeting with a lot of people, including generals, as you know, and admirals. No. So we'll be meeting with military people and others.
Are there any foreign visitors at Camp David?
Even if you don't plan to invoke the Insurrection Act, do you plan to send troops to Los Angeles?
What?
Even if you're not planning to invoke the Insurrection Act, do you still plan to send troops?
Well, we're going to have troops everywhere. We're not going to let this happen to our country. We're not going to let our country be torn apart like it was under Biden and his auto pen.
What's the bar for sending Marines to
The bar is
cities?
what I think it is. I mean, if we see danger to our country and to our citizens, we'll be very, very strong in terms of law and order. It's about law and order.
Sending active Marines on the table, sir. Secretary Hex
We're going to see what we need. We'll send whatever we need to make sure there's law and order.
Mr. President, do you foresee those protests spreading to other cities, Chicago, New York, for example, in the next few days?
Yes, we're going to be watching it very closely. And when they spit at people, you know, they spit. That's their new thing. They spit, and worse, you know what they throw at them, right? And when that happens, I have a little statement. They say, they spit, we hit. And I told them, nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military, which they do as a common thing. They get up to them this far away, and then they start spitting in their face. That happens, they get hit very hard.
What are the rules of engagement for federal troops?
We'll see what happens. If we think there's a serious insurrection or less than that, we're going to have law and order. Very important.
How would you define an insurrection?
You have to really just have to look at the site. You have to see what's happening. Last night in Los Angeles, we watched it very closely. There was a lot of violence there. There was a lot of violence, and it could have gotten much worse. And you have an incompetent governor. Just take a look at the train stations that he's building. Like 20 times over budget. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. So I did call him the other night. I said, look, you got to take care of this. Otherwise, I'm sending in the troops. That's what we did. Thank you very much. You have a question for Marco? Question for Marco?
I'm just curious if California officials could face federal charges if they stand in the way of the deportation. Something that Homan may have
If
suggested.
officials stand in the way of law and order, yeah, they will face charges. Thank you very much.
All right, just listening in there.
Welcome to Roland's Reviews, folks. So hit that like button. I'm going to do the roll call here momentarily. If you have other forms of social media, please share this stream out. The video we did on Saturday is picking up steam. It's doing well. So far we're fine. We're over 800 so we're trying to build things back up around here. Hit that like button. That helps to grow the channel. Share this stream out. That helps as well. If you want me to call your name out during the roll call, just say hello or send an emoji so I can see who's actually here. Chubbs, thank you for your service, sir. All right. So I'll do the roll call. I'm going to be showing you live coverage. Also, I have other videos I need to share with you. How you doing, Tube State? Bakmari. Okay, we're sorry you can't. We're glad you dropped in. Bakmari won't be able to make it, won't be able to stay. Rob Cat, how are you doing? Arena Uncensored, how you doing? Tijuana Border Jumper, how you doing, dear? Tina, how are you? Again, Monique, Chubbs, and everyone else who was here. Look at these people. Yeah, did you hear what President Trump said? They've been spitting on people, on the officers. I don't know about you folks. I'm not a violent person, but to me, that's the most disrespectful thing that you can do to someone. That is the worst. So I would not be a happy camper if someone was trying to do that to me. So play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Trump said if they do that, they will be hit very hard. Jermaine, how you doing, love? hit that like button. Jermaine, share this out on your Facebook page, please, dear. Thank you. Jermaine, Arena, Monique, Chubbs, Tina, Tijuana, whoever, Robcat. If any of you have Facebook, Instagram, social media, please share the stream out. Thank you so much. Let's see what they're saying now.
The guards stood around the federal complex over the last several days, dressed in tactical gear, carrying long guns, surrounding streets that were largely quiet with just a handful of protesters gathered on the sidewalks. The move came after objections of the Governor Gavin Newsom, who accused Trump of, quote, complete overreaction. It marked the first time in decades that a state's National Guard was activated without a request from its governor, according to the Brennan Center for Justice in a directive on Saturday. And you can see them moving forward, trying to clear some of the area. Let's just listen in again here on Live Now from Fox as the California National Guard clearing some of the way here, confronting with protesters. Confrontation with the signs and protest flags and whatnot. Let's listen in. Of course, viewer discretion is advised when watching these moments unfold in real time. You can see some protesters pushing others back. The California National Guard, I'm pretty sure this could be a detention facility there at the Metropolitan Complex in Los Angeles, where several people are being detained. You can see cameras, different media members on hand for this. Is the clash between National Guard members. And of course, it is a major controversy, the deployment of the National Guard. We saw Gavin Newsom on social media early today saying the California National Guard wasn't deployed in Los Angeles yet when President Trump was posting about it on social media. So you can see them in front of these California National Guards with the shields, the tactical gear on them, reporters there very close to the scene, but a very volatile situation unfolding in real time just past 1 o'clock local time in Southern California. All right, we're still watching it very closely as approximately 300 National Guard members deployed to 3 separate locations in the greater Los Angeles area. Of course, President Trump called for some 2,000 National Guard members to that area. Several protests and marches scheduled to kick off here around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock local time in that region. The arrival of the Guard follows 2 days of relatively small protests that began Friday in downtown Los Angeles and spreading Saturday to Paramount, a heavily Latino city south of the city, a neighbor to Compton. As federal agents set up a staging area near Home Depot and Paramount, demonstrators sought to block Border Patrol vehicles, some hurling rocks and chunks of cement. In response, federal agents in riot gear unleashed tear gas, flashbangs, and pepper balls. Los Angeles police and said dozens were arrested. And as you mentioned, tensions remain high as a series of sweeps by immigration authorities the previous day as the week-long tally of immigrant arrests in the city climbed past 100. You can see some of those non-lethal projectiles being shot by the National Guard to back some of these individuals away, some of these protesters. Of course, it appeared the protesters were just standing there. Not sure if this is the sidewalk, the property they were on. Was where they wanted to be. The California National Guard was, but you can see them just waving flags, different signs. It was the National Guard that moved forward first to push them off the sidewalk and potentially into the street. All right, let's just continue to listen, and we're going to continue to watch this here on Live Now from Fox unfold from Southern California.
No to the Constitution! No to a
All right, as we're watching this here on Live Now from Fox, we're going to keep the shot up, though. We're going to go from Southern California to Northern California as different lawmakers and officials speaking about these anti-ICE protests, these major federal immigration raids. Let's listen into this here on Live Now.
We stand in solidarity with our immigrant communities. We are here to urge that all protests remain peaceful, and we are here to stand against the tyranny that is threatened by the president's reckless use of the National Guard and threatened use of other military for domestic law enforcement. The use of military for the domestic law enforcement puts our nation on the precipice of authoritarian rule. I'm outraged by the reckless militarization of response to protests in Los Angeles, hours after the Los Angeles Police Department deemed a protest to be peaceful and well within control. I am here with many community leaders. You will hear from several elected officials and colleagues. I'm honored to have my colleague in the House of Representatives, Congressman Kevin Mullen, here, as well as State Senator Josh Becker, Santa Clara County Supervisor Betty Young, San Mateo County Supervisor Ray Mueller, Palo Alto City Vice Mayor Vicki Venker, and you also have obviously heard from Mayor Ed Lowing. And we have leaders from very important organizations who will be speaking, as well as many who are here simply in solidarity. Belinda Arriaga, who is the executive director of ALAS, Ayudando a Latinos a Soñar, as well as WeTrend, and Marita Maldonado from the Immigrant Protection and Empowerment Network, a coalition of many nonprofit organizations. We are proud to stand with them and grateful that they are here with us. I know, as a former mayor of a major city during a time of civil unrest, that it is incredibly difficult for urban police departments to manage protests in a way that ensures safety and enabling for the rightful First Amendment expression that is at the core of our democracy. It is incredibly difficult for the best trained urban police departments who undergo extensive training in de-escalation, in understanding constitutional protections under the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, understanding how to properly arrest citizens who are engaged in unlawful conduct. Leave urban policing to the experts.
Nope.
We don't need the military involved.
Lies.
Of the National Guard troops is a reckless misuse of the very good and well-intentioned citizens who serve in our National Guard. Their service as citizen soldiers must not be abused in this way. We can clearly see the plan of this administration. It is to inflame the situation, to insert and militarize the situation in ways that we know will necessarily cause some to want to react. This administration will look for any excuse to seize control from civilian authorities and ultimately to invoke the Insurrection Act and impose martial law. For that reason and for many other reasons, we encourage all protesters, do not take the bait. We will continue to speak loud. We will speak clearly. We will speak forcefully, but we'll always act without the use of force. That has to be at the core of our mission, and I encourage all protesters here throughout the state, throughout the country, to please do not provoke. We must use our voices and never our hands. Since 1878, the Posse Comitatus Act has prohibited the use of military, the U.S. military on U.S. soil for domestic law enforcement. That law is unequivocal, provides very narrow exceptions, and other very narrow exceptions in federal law. And it is unequivocal because it provides the sanction for violating is a 2-year term imprisonment. That is, it is a crime to unlawfully use the military on U.S. soil. Now, this president has invoked a very specific provision under Title 10, which can be used against invasion, rebellion, or is unable to implement federal law. Even under that provision, he must act through the governors of the states.
Nope.
Our governor has objected to this use.
Who cares?
Of National Guard troops.
Who cares?
For that reason, this administration must stand down. This is a time for all of us to de-escalate, to take a step back, and to allow our constitutional institutions to work. I am proud to be here with many colleagues. I will be concluding with Spanish.
All right, you're just listening in there from Palo Alto, California, and you can hear from Northern California and Southern California the dichotomy, the differences between the two images we were just watching unfold on your screen in real time as tear gas was deployed, I believe, by California National Guard members. You can see some of the smoke, the fumes in the street, pushing back protesters, these anti-ICE protesters in the street as we were watching unfold. California National Guard members being called upon by President Trump, a real unprecedented move taking place there in Southern California. As we were talking about some of the history of what just happened as President Trump's federalization of National Guard troops to quell immigration protests in Los Angeles on Saturday marks the first time a U.S. chief executive has used such a power since the 1992 LA riots in reaction to the acquittal of the police officers, the white police officers, in the beating of black motorist Rodney King. Dozens of people were killed then. Almost 3 decades ago, thousands injured, thousands arrested during several days of riots in Los Angeles, damaged property estimated more than $1 billion. So now back here in 2025, these anti-ICE protesters clashing with National Guard members again. So we're following this here on Live Now from Fox. President Trump just spoke on his way to boarding Air Force One, talking about the Insurrectionist Act, saying depends. He did not unequivocally say no to invoking that, saying he won't let the country be torn apart. I also commented about Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, the possibility of sending in Marines, saying that will happen if there is a, quote, danger to our country. So you could see different signs, flags out here outside of this area in Southern California, in Los Angeles. Let's just listen in briefly because this is a major moment in time in American history. Let's just listen in briefly here on Live Now from Fox and get a sense of the scene as these anti-ICE protesters clash with National Guard in Los Angeles over what we're following on. So let's just listen in here briefly on Live Now.
And the sad part is they actually believe this garbage. The governor is angry. Oh, they're trying to take over the state. Well, sir, you're not doing your job. Yeah, he told Trump, no, we don't need National Guard. Yes, you do. If you were here yesterday, we did a video on the riots and the violence is escalating.
All right, you're just listening in here as you can see some of the images and sounds in Southern California. The tear gas, it appears to have dispersed just past 1:15 local time as these anti-ICE protesters separating themselves from these California National Guard members. You can see, I believe most might be paint guns, non-lethal different weaponry used by the California National Guard. And of course, President Trump said he was deploying some 2,000 members of the National Guard, an unprecedented move from the executive branch, as it usually works in tandem with state officials like Governor of California, Gavin Newsom. According to the AP, some 300 National Guard troops were deployed in Los Angeles on Sunday on orders from the president following clashes between the federal immigration authorities and protesters seeking working to block them from carrying out deportations. Some of the troops were shown stationed outside the Metropolitan Detention Center in downtown LA, one of several sites that have seen confrontations involving hundreds of demonstrators and federal law enforcement officials over the last 2 days. And of course, talking about the definition of insurrection, because that is a lot on the minds of so many people, including reporters asking President Trump about that. Will he institute that insurrectionist act? He said depends. We also heard from Stephen Miller over the weekend, over the last several days, calling this, quote unquote, a violent insurrection. So we'll see what's to come of this. We're also hearing from different officials in Los Angeles. Gavin Newsom, the California governor, but also the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, posting this on social media. I want to put this up here, saying this morning, President Trump deployed the National Guard into Los Angeles. Deploying federalized troops on the heels of these raids is a chaotic escalation. The fear people are feeling in our city right now is very real. It's felt in our communities and within our families, and it puts our neighborhoods at risk. This is the last thing our city needs, and I urge protesters to remain peaceful. I've been in touch this morning with immigrant rights leaders as well as local enforcement officials. Los Angeles will always stand with everyone who calls our city home. Again, that is a statement from Mayor Karen Bass here on the heels of the California National Guard being deployed there in Southern California.
Deport her.
The clash continues. They pushed protesters, demonstrators, the peaceful kind, off the block there, off the street, pushing them back with tear gas, with non-lethal different devices. So you can see them, different media members capturing this moment up close. Let's just listen in briefly here on Live Now from Fox. You can see the tensions quell and then they escalate one more time. And of course, viewer discretion is advised. We're watching this live, raw and unfiltered. So some vulgar images, some vulgar rhetoric may be heard on this feed. And we're going to try to make sure we take it out as much as possible, but it is hard to eliminate in its entirety. So you can see this outside of this area in downtown Los Angeles as anti-ICE protesters continued to clash with federal law enforcement, immigration authorities, including the California National Guard. Let's take you back out to this other press conference in Northern California, talking about what's happening in that southern part of the Golden State, taking you out to Palo Alto right now.
Spectacle of National Guard deployment far outweigh any public benefit that they could argue would exist. Standing alone, what is happening in Los Angeles is yet another self-inflicted wound from the Trump administration to the state and the national economy and the taxpayer. But these actions aren't meant to stand alone. They're not meant to protect anyone. They are meant to ensure Trump's big blunder of a budget bill gets passed. The president is seeking to create a reality television theater, risking human lives, risking violence between law enforcement and California National Guardsmen, forcing provocative interaction with residents of our state who are desperately crying out in interest to protect their families and out of fear for their community. It's a very dark time in America. But I am not afraid, because I know we are Californians. We are the world's fourth largest economy, a powerhouse of innovation and trade and agriculture. From the shores of San Diego to the metropolis LA, to the Central Valley, the agriculture there, to the labs here in Silicon Valley, we feed the nation. We invent the future and we inspire the world. And we know what this president does not. Our diversity is our strength. We are home to more cultures, more languages, and more dreams than anywhere else in the country, and it is immigration that powers our economy. We stand together to stand firm, to hold on to our convictions, and to resist. Thank you. It's my pleasure now to introduce to you all Santa Clara County Supervisor Betty Duong.
Hi everyone, my name is Betty Young and I represent District 2 of Santa Clara County on the Board of Supervisors. The policies of this federal administration to target and terrorize immigrant, undocumented, and mixed status families, neighbors, and communities is creating a humanitarian crisis right here at home, where children are afraid to go to school, parents are afraid to go to work, and families are pushed into hiding. Under this administration, we're seeing deployment of National Guards and U.S. military sent to face off with the very people they have sworn to protect. We cannot have a society where its residents are afraid to call the police, go to the emergency room, and afraid to show up for each other. District 2 in Santa Clara County is the downtown and east side district. It is the home to Mayfair, Plata Arroyo, Japantown, Little Saigon, Pinoy Town, Little Italy, Little Portugal. Home to the first boycott that launched the United Farm Workers Movement. This is the district that is resilience, that is fight, and is resistance. It is also the district that has seen the majority of ICE raids in Santa Clara County, the majority of arrests. My district, my residents, my neighbors, my family. The fear is palpable in every conversation I have in my neighborhoods. I'm not going to tell people not to be afraid. This is a scary time. Fear is a natural response to danger, but fear does not need to equate to powerlessness. All of our power is in our communities, it's in our diversity, it's in our immigrant enclaves, it's in our neighborhoods. As electeds, we follow their lead. As allies, we stand shoulder to shoulder with the most impacted. And when necessary, we stand and speak for those who have been silenced, like the folks who are here today. I ask you to join the Rapid Response Network, 408-290-1144. Join the network that is standing up and providing care and providing information to those who are desperately in need of it from trusted sources. To my fellow attorneys, take the 3-day skills training to provide representation in removal defense cases. We don't have enough attorneys. You can fill that gap in 3 days. Santa Clara County was the first, the counties are the first and last lines of defense. And as caretakers of the social safety net, families that have been separated rely on us for survival. Children will have to enter our foster care system, and we will be tasked with picking up the pieces as constrained state and federal budgets gut our ability to provide services. It is because of these consequences that Santa Clara County will and always stands with our immigrant communities.
Right, Robert, good point. These immigrant rights groups, how about the people who are here legally?
Have contributed $11 million to immigrant protection and legal defense. I look forward, yes.
How many American citizens do they protect?
And call upon my fellow counties, my city jurisdictions to join the fight with us. And for those of you who can't join the fight, we will fight for you. At this time, I'd like to introduce Palo Alto Vice Mayor, Vicki Vinker.
Well, thank you, Supervisor Young, and thank you, Representative Liccardo, for organizing this. I'm Vicki Vinker, the Vice Mayor of Palo Alto. We are so glad you are here today because we welcome all in the city of Palo Alto. Cities are on the front lines of this issue. Through our local police departments, we are the ones maintaining peace, respect, order, and most important, the rule of law in our communities.
I don't think so.
It is unprecedented to invoke the National Guard without the state governor's consent. It hasn't been done for 60 years, and even then, it was done during the civil rights protests to protect the protesters. Our current president, however, is relying on a law that requires rebellion Historically, this is not invoked unless state and local police are overwhelmed or are standing back and doing nothing. Neither of those are the case here today. And this is not just about Los Angeles. If the president does this in Los Angeles, he could do it in Palo Alto, in Menlo Park, in Sunnyvale, in San Jose. And that is not okay. This is a dangerous precedent where we could see the president invoking this law even when protests are peaceful or even when he deems them only likely. It just makes no sense to call in the National Guards when local police departments like Palo Alto Police Department are trained to address civil disturbances during protests and to do so constitutionally. And the military is not trained that way.
Bass told them not to assist.
They have relationships with our communities, and they are responsible to our communities. During World War II, my father was stationed at the Marine base at Camp Pendleton. They were on high alert, but to go to Iwo Jima, not Los Angeles. It is not okay that that's what's happening today. A couple weeks ago, our city council voted to join the county's lawsuit against the Trump administration's withholding of grant money if you do not cooperate with ICE. We went to our local immigrant community and said, is that okay with you? Will this put a target on you? What do you want us to do? And they said, stand up for us, help us, make an issue, join our voices. And I'm proud to say we did. And that's what we all need to do now today, to stand with our community. So thank you for doing just that. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Belinda Arriaga, who is the founder and executive director of Ayudando Latinos a Soñar.
Those that were not here for the video on Saturday, Bass instructed the police not to assist. Some of these these ICE agents were holed up. They were surrounded. It was 100 plus ICE agents, thousands of rioters outside. She said, nope. So don't listen to this crap.
In LA. And what I want to say is, talking to the children, the mothers, the fathers, the tios, the abuelas, the immigrants that have worked so hard to make our community, our state, our country who it is, and now we are under, attack of them losing.
All right, you're just listening in there to California officials speak in Palo Alto in Northern California after President Trump deployed National Guard members to parts of Southern California to quell some anti-ICE demonstrators on the ground. And we're watching this scene unfold in real time, and you're looking live there. The shields are out. California National Guard, some barricades are being put up as ICE protesters gather outside of this, I believe is a detention center, just about 1:30 local time. And we're hearing different reaction from lawmakers, from representatives from that area in Southern California. You can see this one coming in, Representative Young Kim from the area of Los Angeles, saying the scenes in Los Angeles are a direct result of the Biden-Harris administration's open border policies, made worse by out-of-touch Sacramento policies and a soft-on-crime prosecutors. We need law and order, not crime and chaos in our back. Stand with our brave law enforcement. Let's bring into the conversation right now the Congresswoman, Representative Young Kim. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And it is so wild to see all of this unfold in real time. What do we make of it? What's the latest? And what are you hearing from the ground inside the people, the communities that you represent?
To be honest with you, I'm not on the ground right now, but I am watching what is being unfolding right now through the media and getting some information from my team who are, remember, my district is in Los Angeles, Orange County area, but it's just reminiscent of what I witnessed in 1992 when LA had a riot. Look, peaceful protesters are, they have constitutional right But what we're watching is those crimes, violence, and hate. That's not acceptable, and that's un-American. Which is why I am hoping that we can get this under control and contain the situation. And that requires our law enforcement officers who are working every time, every hour, and they need additional support to get this under control before it gets out of hand. So I feel for the innocent civilians in Los Angeles, as the illegal immigrants are setting fire to their city, and local politicians over time have enabled it through the soft on crime policies. That's why I'm watching this with great concern, and I'm glad we're bringing some additional support to make this a situation under control.
Of course, and as you mentioned, some of what was going on here, watching it in real time, and I know your district is kind of somewhat adjacent to this. I want to ask you about what's happening and the controversy around the deployment of the National Guard, as Governor Gavin Newsom called it an overreaction. Do you agree with the deployment of the California National Guard?
It was clear that the situation has not been contained, so our local law enforcement need backup. That's why I support the National Guard being deployed. That deployment is not targeted to peaceful protesters. This was for people setting streets on fire, throwing rocks at the cars. Look, Californians and all Americans deserve law and order, not more crime and chaos. So yes, I support the deployment of National Guard, and I do hope that the situation gets under control quickly.
Do you think it was an overreaction or an overreach by President Trump? Because this hasn't happened since the civil rights movement back in the 1960s. Should President Trump work closer with Gavin Newsom to make this happening, to quell those potentially protests that do get out of hand?
Well, I do not think it was an overreaction. It's been already, wait, this is going on our third day. If we don't get this situation under control, I'm afraid that we may see the recreation of 1992 Los Angeles riot. So yes, you need decisive leadership and action, and the decision that was made by President Trump to send the National Guard as he did right now.
And of course, we're also asking about comments about President Trump. I'm going to ask you about another one, because we just heard President Trump on his way to Camp David from New Jersey. He was asked about the Insurrectionist Act, saying it depends if he would. Do you think that should be instituted by him? Is there concern in your eyes if he does institute it, what it leads to?
I'm not sure what you mean by insurrection here. This
You don't believe it's an insurrection right now?
These riots are being caused by the individuals that, they're getting out of hand. We need to put the situation under control, and the situation is not being contained. So we need decisive action, and that is what's being happening right now. The chaos and the crime that we're seeing from illegal immigrants in Los Angeles is a direct result of the Biden-Harris administration's open border policies. That made it worse by out of touch policies from Sacramento and soft on crime policies from local elected leaders and rogue prosecutors that we've seen in LA County for a long time. Look, I am an immigrant, and I believe that we need to work on common sense immigration reform. We need to fix our broken immigration system. These illegal immigrants who came in record numbers over the past 4 years are taking innocent lives. They're throwing rocks at cars right now, as we're seeing. The videos that you are showing, they're setting our streets on fire. That undermines legal immigrants who are here to work hard. And they're trying to live their American dream. And the public safety of the American people is at stake if we don't get this situation under control.
Have you spoken to any of your Democratic colleagues there in California? Because I know California, a very blue state, plenty of lawmakers are Democrats. Have you spoken to any of them over the last few days, and are you willing to work with them on immigration policy, like you mentioned, to potentially help?
I have not talked with any of my colleagues in Los Angeles because, we just, we are over the weekend right now. We finished our session and we all went to our respective districts. But I'm willing to work with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle. first thing we need to do is get this situation under control.
I want to ask you, because you talk about some of these things, the protesters on the ground. Right now, it seems somewhat peaceful, but as the evening goes on, it's going to be a tense moment. What's the message to protesters out there, peaceful protesters that want to use their constitutional right of free speech? What's your message to the people that may be on the ground protesting right now?
Nobody is stopping them from doing, making their voices heard. That's their constitutional right. Peaceful protests are okay, and they can get their, permits to do their protests, in the areas that they have the right to do so. But what they're doing, throwing rocks at cars and being, like what we're seeing, throwing, like putting the places on fire. This is un-American. This needs to stop. I want to tell everybody that are protesting out there, you have way to do it peacefully, do it quietly, and nobody's going to arrest you if you do that. So yes, exercise your constitutional right to be heard, make your voices heard, and that is what democratic country does. But don't do it in a way that we're seeing right now. This has to stop, and I'm glad that we're bringing some additional support to contain the situation under control.
I want to ask you about this, because this is happening and we're putting a spotlight right now on Southern California. Are you concerned that some of these escalations might happen in other communities around the country?
Well, the media is just showing the real, what is happening right now. And we have seen across the country where people are just protesting, without a peaceful means. I wanted to send the message out there. Just, you have a right to exercise your First Amendment rights, constitutional right to the freedom of assembly, but do it peacefully, okay? And please, let's get this under control.
And just some of these images that we're putting on your screen, you mentioned what happened in 1992 with the Rodney King riots, of course, after the acquittal of those four white police officers. Can you just put a sense on this? Does this look familiar to you? Does take us back there a few decades ago? Does what was going through your mind then, does it compare to what's going on now?
What was going through our minds at the time was, look, the streets, the stores, the individuals that are being affected, the rioters coming into the stores, they were calling out for help. Local police, law enforcement did not respond in a timely manner, and it got worse. And we saw individuals protecting their properties, store owners getting on top of the rooftops to protect their own properties from the looters coming in and breaking their stores. But nobody was coming. They were practically feeling ignored by the local law enforcement. What we're seeing today, we're trying to bring in the situation under control, which is why I support the decision that was made to bring in some 2,000 National Guards, because we need to, we need the backup. This is apparently not being, contained in a timely manner. So I support the decision that is being made, and I hope that we can contain it soon, so we don't have to bring in additional, backups from, as you mentioned, from the Camp Pendleton or any other places from outside of our state.
Would you be for that? Because Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said the possibility of Marines. President Trump said that if there is a, quote, danger to our country, those types of strength would be shown there. Would you agree with that? And what type of conversations do you hope go on there within the President Trump and their administration about some of those decisions to potentially send Marines to LA?
Well, let's hope that it does not come to that. The National Guards that's already deployed, I do hope that they will do their job and, put this crime and chaos under control. We need law and order, and let's hope that we don't have to bring in extra backup.
Okay.
Young Kim from California, thank you so much.
All right, let's catch up with some of the comments. Okay, Dorian said that's what we've been saying. Chris says he agrees with her. Yes, I do too. Where are we? Robert, if they voted for Kamala Harris, If they vote Kamala Harris for governor of California, that state will be lost. Yes, Robert, because they're just about, it's already too late, just about. Tube Steak said she gets it. Citizen Kang says, I predicted 2 months ago that Trump was going to send in the troops to check the illegal immigrant credit. Okay. Hello, how you doing, Connie? Hi, Louis, D'Angelo, how you doing, love? Everyone who's here, do me a favor, hit that small thumb. That is the like button. Also, hit the subscribe button if you are enjoying this content. Chubb says, so it's okay for people to burn cities down and no one is supposed to stop that. Yeah, because Governor Newsom is in his feelings. He's butthurt saying, oh, we didn't need the National Guard. You needed something because you weren't doing anything. And again, someone just pointed out, I forgot who it was. I think it was, I don't know if it was Chris. Someone said earlier, no American flag in sight. The people who are here protesting have their country's flag that they're waving and that's draped around their body. So deport them back to where they want to go. That's the flag they're representing, right? Connie says protect America and legal Americans. Yes, boom. Yes, send in the National Guard. Yes, they needed something and they're all upset. Oh, this is tyranny. Man, be quiet. Just stop. They're just upset. Things were escalating, and that's why he sent in the National Guard. Thank you, Robert. Boom.
You're on live now from Fox.
Okay, so that's just where we are with that. And I have some other videos I wanted to share with you. James, no, one flag was being stepped on and torn up. All right, take a guess which flag that was. All right. But in all of the video footage I've seen no American flags. Okay. And I wanted to I wanted to show you Karen Bass. We'll get back to the live footage, but I wanted to show you her Twitter page. So these people, you know, they're incorrigible. Let me find her Twitter. It's right here. So the house is on fire and they're just, oh, you know, nothing to see here. Okay. So this is her page on Twitter. And so this is a tweet from Mayor Bass. This is a difficult time for our city as we recover from an unprecedented natural disaster. Many in our community are feeling fear following recent federal immigration enforcement actions across Los Angeles County. Reports of unrest outside the city, including in Paramount, are deeply concerning. We've been in direct contact with officials in Washington, D.C., and are working closely with law enforcement to find the best path forward. Everyone has the right to peacefully protest, but let me be clear, violence and destruction are unacceptable and those responsible will be held accountable. Joke. So if you were here yesterday, or if you've been watching footage on other channels, there is violence and destruction that's occurring. And those that did not know, when I first started the stream, President Trump was talking about these protesters were spitting on the, I guess, ICE agents and the police that were there. Yeah. And so he's telling them now, okay, when you do that, you're going to be, he said, you're going to be hit really hard. So so again, it's escalating, right? So again, she's smoking mirrors. And look at this. To the immigrant community in Los Angeles, you belong here. You are not alone. Who is she? Michael Jackson. You are not alone. I am here with you. Lady, please. Los Angeles is your home and we are fighting for you. And again, this lady right here has never, ever fought for the people in her district. The only people that she fights for are immigrants. So again, if you are someone who voted for this woman, you, whoever, your family members, friends, you need to let them know she doesn't do anything for you. Why are you continuing to vote for her? Oh my God. I see. Where's the volume? I'll let you hear this. I'll start this from the beginning. This is ridiculous.
That this has happened. Of course, what happened here, I think, was probably the worst. There were a number of locations where ICE raided today. And, you know, to me, when these things happen, it sows a sense of terror in the community. It's bad enough that it happened at this location, but the way this goes and spreads throughout the community, then people are not sure where they're safe. Outrage that this has happened.
What about the fear that legal citizens have from the illegals that are committing horrendous crimes? And how many of you remember, I did a video months ago when that MS-13 gang took over whole apartment buildings. I did a video on that. Yeah, I did. But they don't say anything about that. It's all about the protection of these immigrants. Monique, this is not a peaceful protest. Boom. Connie says arrest Bass. Yes. Citizen Kane, they were grabbing the ICE agent's hair. And Citizen Kane, this lady right here, yeah, she needs to be removed. She said she was in constant contact with Washington. She was asked to have the police officers to go and assist ICE. They were holed up in a building surrounded by violent protesters outside. There were 100. If you watch my video from yesterday, we were watching the video. They gave us the exact number, but it was 100 plus ICE agents. Chris said, you remember? Yes, Chris, you remember? Oh my. So that's what the Democrats are doing. They don't. This is today's Democratic Party. Immigrant, immigrant, immigrant. If you are an American and you vote for the Democrats, I don't know what else to say for you. You are voting against your own best interest. Boom. Let's see what she's saying here. Everything that they're talking about. Immigrant, immigrant, immigrant. Just listen. Let me start this from the beginning. This is our official Twitter.
We are going to fight for all Angelenos, regardless of when they got here, whether they have papers or not. We are a city of immigrants, and this impacts hundreds of thousands of Angelenos. We are going to fight for all Angelenos, regardless of when.
Anyone, you can go to her Twitter page. Okay? She is not going to do anything for Americans. Look at this. We will not stand for this. So this is her official Twitter page. Read this, folks. They also vandalized news media vehicle. Yes, citizen, but according to she and Governor Newsom, there was nothing going on that was nefarious. Seems that the leaders there have smoked too much weed. Brain cells are gone. They've done something, Chubb. They're looking at something different than what we're looking at. Dorian said, and they say Trump is the problem. Yeah, Joey, I'm from Compton, next city with Paramount. Ghetto is ghetto. Yes. Monique, that's the scary part. I mean, so look at this. This morning, we received reports of federal immigration enforcement actions in multiple locations in Los Angeles. As mayor of a proud city of immigrants who contribute to our city in so many ways, I am deeply angered by what has taken place. These tactics sow terror in our communities and disrupt basic principles of safety in our city. My office is in close coordination with immigrant rights community organizations. We will not stand for this. So again, it's all about immigrants. When have you seen what? Type it in the comment section. When have you heard this woman say something or do something in reference to American citizens? I'm just asking for a friend. I'm just asking. And then she's talking about the anti-Semitic attacks in DC and Boulder, she was saying, oh, they were horrifying and sent shockwaves across the country. Well, your party let millions of unvetted people into the country. So who knows what else they're going to unleash on America. We gathered in the City Hall this week to discuss security plans here in Los Angeles to protect our Jewish communities. Let me be clear. And we know where she got that from, the Curry Queen. Boom. And anti-Semitism has no place in our city, period. So it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all hogwash, as the old people used to say. Thank you to the more than 1,000 Angelinos that came together for another incredible Shine LA. Stay tuned for more soon. So everything that she does, everything that the Congressional Black Caucus, yes, Arena, thank you, boom. These people that you're voting for, if you're not an immigrant, why the heck are you voting for these people? They're only, Jesse said, deport them. Yes, deport her too. Deport Brandon Johnson in Chicago. All these people, just deport them. Just send them all to El Salvador. What the heck? This is all they do. Oh my God. And I still have the video. Remember when the fires were raging, burning LA down to the ground. She's off in Ghana. And the reporter asked her in a respectful way, just asked her. She just stood there like a deer in the headlights. She said nothing. I pulled that up as well. These are the people that they're voting for. DEI. What a failure. Oh, we're hiring to have the first Black woman. And this is what you're dealing with. Voting has consequences, people. So, yeah, this is what, yeah, this is her page, her official Twitter page. So, I wanted to share that with you. Okay, I'll stop. I'll close that. Hit the like button if you are enjoying this content, folks. So yeah, they're saying everything is nice and wonderful. The people are just out there peacefully protesting. Chris, these politicians are the Diddy. Yes, the party of Diddy. Boom. Oh, ALC, she can go too. Yeah. Jesse, you weren't here. Trump, I had Trump on earlier. They are there. They were doing that. They were also spitting on them. I was like, OMG. Totally disgusting. Totally. And I have, let me see what else I was going to share. I have other, we'll get back to the live coverage. They're on a commercial break right now. Let me show you Miss Bass. Remember, like I said, she was asked a simple question. The reporter was not, I can understand if someone comes up to you and they're nasty and you're like, I'm not dealing with that. And you just walk away or you just don't answer them. You're the mayor. Certain positions, you can't sit there and say, ignore people and not say anything. She said nothing. I was like, okay. So let me show you, because some of you may have forgotten. I'm bringing this back to your remembrance. This was in January. Remember, LA was burning to the ground. Looked like the towering inferno. Looked like the second coming at the end of the world, Armageddon, all that. And just watch this, folks. Just asked her a simple question. She did not respond. And you're Los Angeles mayor. You don't have that right. Listen to this.
Madam Mayor, David Blevins from Sky News in the UK. fire chiefs say that they're really stretched to the limit and running out of water. What have you got to say to that? Have you no response to that? Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home? Madam Mayor, let me ask you just again, have you anything to say to the citizens today as you return?
No. Ma'am, hold on 1 second.
Madam Mayor, just a few words for the citizens today as you return to deal with the catastrophe.
Can you take this down?
So again, was there any disrespect? He was just asking simple questions. Where are we here? So when you vote for people because, they're going to be the first Black or they're going to be the first female, you have to deal with the consequences. So voting has consequences, folks. Dorian said, lock her up for treason. DEI mayor, boom. Arena, Dems forgot that we voted for this. Yeah, I guess so, Arena. Where are we here? Yes, Monique. Thank you. Citizen Kane dropped a clip. Remember Larisha Thompson, who lost her life from 4 illegal. Robert, we could talk from now until the rapture talking about the Americans that have lost their lives, but they never say anything about that. Connie said Miss Bass is full of gas. Dorian, America is Rome and Babylon all in one. Yes. Like say something. Yeah. Baldwin, that's the one thing I will agree with on Elon Musk. She is incompetent. Yeah, for sure. Clown show. Yes, Joey. She looks like she put that so knows. I don't know what Chubbs is saying here. Chris, well, you're fired. Go back home since that was more important. Yeah. And she fired. Remember, she turned around and fired the fire chief. Let's see what they're saying. Mad Max is on. You know she has something to say. Please take these people to Shady Pines. I mean, let me get you on here. Let you hear what she's saying.
Fred, do what we did in the civil rights movement. Protest peacefully. Get out. Make your voices heard. The more people we're able to engage, the more we can push back on them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, you're just hearing there from Maxine Waters, also dating back to the civil rights movement. And that was also the last time the National Guard was deployed by the executive branch. And I do want to talk more about David Huerta and the different lawmakers speaking out against this arrest. And you can see just the amount of people, including Senator Alex Padilla, the California governor, or senator saying David is a long-time supporter there. Nancy Pelosi, Governor Gavin Newsom talking about Huerta, respected leader, patriot, and advocate, different lawmakers as well. And that single obstruction arrest by U.S. Attorney Bill Esseley as Huerta, the president of this union, he said, quote, federal agents were executing a lawful judicial warrant at an L.A. worksite earlier this morning when David Huerta deliberately obstructed their access by blocking their vehicle. So we're following this here on Live Now from Fox. You can see Maxine Waters there on the ground to check on the status of David Huerta. But dozens others were arrested, detained in different immigration raids. That is what really stemmed all of these protests there in Southern California. And as we go back out to all of these images, we are entering a new hour. If you're just joining us here on Live Now from Fox, I'm Andy Mack. We're going to take you out to all these images live, raw, and unfiltered in real time. Again, a live picture there, courtesy of Sky Fox, as the California National Guard, about 300 troops deployed on Sunday on orders from President Trump following clashes between federal immigration authorities and protesters seeking to block them from carrying out these deportations. You can see them getting on top of the vehicle. One of the most striking images is of a burning vehicle overnight the last several days this weekend in Southern California. Just to give you a wrap on what we're learning, what we're hearing from President Trump, other lawmakers about this deployment of the National Guard, let's take you out to Eben Brown with this report.
We'll send whatever we need to make sure there's law and order.
National Guard troops were active in Los Angeles Sunday after President Donald Trump signed a memorandum deploying 2,000 guardsmen to address the city's, quote, lawlessness. The president's orders come after clashes broke out Friday evening between federal immigration authorities and protesters who demand an end to the recent immigration raids.
I think the president did exactly what he needed to do. These are federal laws. We have to maintain the rule of law, and that is not what is happening.
On Friday, ICE agents arrested dozens of people, sparking the protests. By Saturday, law enforcement in riot gear needed tear gas and flashbang explosives to dispel crowds. The added manpower has only deterred some from speaking out. A group of protesters were seen shouting at several armed troops in downtown L.A. on Sunday. Critics say the deployment of the National Guard is an abuse of power.
We have a president who is moving this country rapidly into authoritarianism.
The move comes despite objections from California Governor Gavin Newsom, who is warning that it could escalate tensions between protesters and authorities. According to the Brennan Center for Justice, it is the first time in decades that a state's National Guard has been activated without a request from its governor.
Breaking with generations of tradition is only going to incite the situation and make things worse.
Still, those in the Trump administration are supporting this move, claiming it will maintain peaceful protests in L.A.
And allow people to be able to protest, but also to keep law and order.
Eben Brown, Fox News.
All right, thank you so much. We were watching those images unfold in real time here on Live Now as these protesters clash with California National Guard members on the ground outside what I believe is a detention facility. You can see our Sky Fox there zooming out, some hundreds of people blocking off this side street there in Los Angeles in the downtown region. Let's take you now on the ground for what we're witnessing in real time. Let you listen in briefly to hear what the protesters are saying as you can see California National Guard members with their shields in place, standing arm in arm, locked arm in arm here around 2 o'clock on Sunday.
The thousands and thousands of undocumented migrants who staff this country's farms and restaurants, and that these protesters say ought to be left well alone. Of course, Mr. Trump claims he has a mandate. Immigration was at the centre of his election campaign, but it is very clear that that tension you speak about, that was there long before.
All right, you can hear several reporters there speaking, witnessing, and gathering all this and these images in real time. California National Guard there with different tactical gear on right now here, pushing some of the protesters back. Protesters do have different flags and whatnot, as you can see them. Also, plenty of media out in full force to gather and document this unfolding in real time. We also have this other vantage point. I believe this is a little bit of a rally, maybe a block or so away. These are very close in proximity. Let's listen in to what's going on here on Live Now.
So we see what's going on here. So I'm going to take you. I have another video. I have a Tom Homan video that I wanted to share with you as well. And again, they're not being forthright and transparent about what's really happening. So let me, Homan, he calls it as he sees it. All right. So hold on, let me share this with. Then we'll get back to the live coverage. Not a lot of action going on, but that's fine. But I did want to share this with you before we leave. Okay. Hit that like button if you are enjoying. Yeah, Cory Booger. I think that's what. Who is it? Chubbs Behave. Yeah, no one listens to that guy. Okay, no one. Absolutely no one. Except people now. If you have less than 2 brain cells, you might. But we don't have any people like that on the channel. So let's hear what Tom Homan is talking about here. He's a wildcat. I like him. Here we go. So I know we just watched some of these people. Oh, it wasn't so bad. Let's see what Homan is saying. No, they don't, Dorian. Here we go.
You're looking at live pictures out of Paramount, California, where protesters have been clashing with police all day outside a Home Depot. It is still unconfirmed whether immigration officials were conducting an ICE raid, but several ICE vehicles have sustained damages and multiple protesters have now been arrested for an assault on a federal agent. This incident follows a night of riots in Los Angeles following multiple ICE raids in the city. Hi, everyone. I'm Joe Concha, along with Lydia Hu, Alicia Acuna, and Guy Benson. The big story tonight. Tear gas has filled the air as protesters clashed with police last night in Los Angeles. At least 45 people were arrested last night, while DHS says that more than 118 illegals were apprehended this week. The protester tried to storm into an ICE facility last night after being fired upon by radical speakers at a rally. Listen.
Free them all! Free them all! Free them all! Because an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us! And Los Angeles does not back down for that kind of fight!
Continue fighting until we reconstruct every single institution from the ground up so that we can grant full amnesty for all immigrants. Demand full compensation for all of the victims of this criminal injustice system.
What's going to change this is organizing, and not just any type of organizing, militant organizing.
Incredibly, Mayor Karen Bass is still standing with the protesters, saying she's fighting for all Angelenos regardless of immigration status, and doubling down that LA is a city of migrants, leaving out the illegal part. But
is that shocking to anyone? No, we were just talking about that. How you doing, Beverly? California is going to be hard. It's been taken over for years. Yeah, again, just go ahead and cut them off from the rest of the U.S. Just let them go ahead. With all the infighting the Dems have anyway, they're going to eat each other. Down with the illegal immigration. Hakeem Jeffrey, send him to El Salvador. Cory, he can go to Cory Booker. Jasmine Crockett. I have a whole plethora of people we can send to El Salvador. Okay. Yes, they do, Arena. All right. Listen to this crap.
But the people on the side, as Karen Bass, are threatening ICE agents, spray painting death to ICE on dumpsters. Gavin Newsom also weighing in on the riots and blamed them on, get this, President Trump, accusing him of tearing families apart. And this chaos has now spread to New York City today alone as protesters organized in Lower Manhattan. Joining us to break down everything in terms of these protests is border czar Tom Homan. Tom, how is ICE responding to these protests? And thanks for joining us tonight.
Look, we're going to continue doing our job. And yesterday, we got 118 arrests. I was out here yesterday to kick off this operation. And what people aren't talking about is ICE served, several warrants yesterday. These were criminal warrants. This is a criminal investigation. And today, we're continuing operations. They're not going to shut us down. We're out there right now doing operations. We're going to keep doing operations. We brought in more resources to push back the protesters, but I'll say it again, a serious warning. You can protest all you want. You got your First Amendment rights. But if you cross that line of impediment, or you're putting hands on officers, or destroy property, you will be prosecuted. There's zero tolerance on crossing that lines, and that's what we're standing by. We're bringing more resources as we speak. We'll have more resources tonight. We're going to continue doing the job that American people voted Donald Trump in office to do, and we're not going to apologize for doing it.
Tom, it's Alicia Acuna. Again, thank you so much for being here. During the protest yesterday, a Los Angeles City Council member called for mobilization against ICE. Listen.
They know how quickly we mobilize. That's why they're changing tactics. Because community defense works and our resistance has slowed them down before. And if they're escalating their tactics, then so are we. When they show up, we gotta show up even stronger.
So, Tom, will the Trump administration take action against these public officials who are threatening ICE agents with resistance?
Absolutely. And I think Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice is looking at that. And, you know, like I said many times, these elected officials or these non-government organizations, they can't cross the line either. I mean, we got people like, you know, Hakeem Jeffries saying he's going to dox ICE employees, you know, ICE agents.
If you did not see, if you were not here yesterday during yesterday's video, yeah, this is what Hakeem Jeffries said. They're talking about doxing, and those that don't know what that means, that's releasing the private phone numbers and addresses of ICE agents so that their families can be in danger. That's what Hakeem Jeffries said. He's going to dox the ICE agents. Woo! I'll continue.
Out there with masks on. They're wearing masks to protect themselves and their families because they've been doxxed, their families been doxxed, their life's been threatened, their families have been threatened. I know myself, I had over 1,000 protesters in my house. I expect that as the borders are, but these men and women are putting their lives online every day. They arrested a lot of bad people yesterday and today. They arrested child sex offenders. They arrested people convicted of robbery. They arrested public safety, not only significant public safety threats, but national security threats. They arrested gang members. We're making Los Angeles safer. And Mayor Bass ought to be thanking us for making her city safer. And the term migrant, as Joe Concha rightfully said earlier, they're illegal aliens. There are illegal aliens in this country, and we welcome. We're the most giving country in the world. But these are illegal aliens who committed a crime by crossing this border illegally, then yet committed another crime. Again, yesterday's about a criminal investigation into money laundering, tax evasion, and some of the funds going to cartels in Mexico and Colombia that fund their operations of sending narcotics to this country, killing American people. This is about enforcing the law, and again, we're not going to apologize for doing it. We're stepping up. She says they're going to mobilize. Well, guess what? We're already ahead of the game. We're already mobilizing. We're going to bring National Guard in tonight. We're going to continue doing our job. We're going to push back on these people, and we're going to force the law.
Tom, it's Lydia Hu, and I want to ask you a little bit more about these Democrat demands that ICE agents be unmasked. Some Democrats are saying that
Yeah, so again, this guy's a wildcat. I like him. Chubbs, I'm going to put you in the corner again. Chubbs said that lady there loves Taco Bell for sure. She never misses a meal. He's talking about the lady who came on before Homan. She was talking. Hit that like button. How you doing, Pastor Rollins? Pastor Rollins says, arrest these idiots. Yes, hit that like button, Pastor Rollins. If you're enjoying this content, dear, please hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you. Thank you for stopping in. Pastor says, keep arresting these people who don't belong. Yes, Pastor. The Democrats are standing up for them. They don't want them to go. When have you seen, now if I hold my breath, I'll die right here on air. When have you seen these Democrats do this for American citizens? Just type it in the comment section. Maybe I was asleep. Maybe I was out of the country and maybe I just missed it. When have they done all of this for American citizens? That's all I want to know. Joey says, as a proud brown brother from Compton, peace and joy and love to all. Okay, Joey, thanks for dropping in, dear. Chubbs, never. Boom. Thank you, Chubbs. So that's why I have a serious problem with these people, meaning Democrats. They don't do anything for Americans, but they go all out. They travel to El Salvador for criminals. If you want to help criminals, we have millions of criminals in America. Why are you going to El Salvador? Stop it. No, they don't, Robert. Connie, never. Boom. I'll continue.
if they don't unmask, they're threatening to dox them. Listen to this.
I don't know of any police department that routinely wears masks. We know that there are other groups that routinely wear masks. NSC 131 routinely wears masks.
Sending masks to snatch, kidnap, disappear immigrants of all legal statuses across the country.
Every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified.
Here's the all right, let me get rid of the commercial. Yeah, let's just go ahead as we're deporting people. Let's go ahead and deport all these Democrats. I mean, they're worthless. Let me go. Chubbs made you smile today, Lion. Good. All right, let's get rid of this. All right, here we go.
Tom, I wonder if you can speak to that a little bit. Explain to us more, help everyone understand the threat that our ICE agents are facing by just doing their job, why they need to wear these masks, and also what actions need to be taken against Democrats who are demanding that they be unmasked, and what would happen if they do dox them and at least publish their identities.
Look, it's incredible. We're at a place where the guys, the men and women who enforce law, they're the bad guys, and the ones who break the law are the victims. You kidding me? How come they didn't say anything about BLM? They're all there. They were a mask. How about the protesters, all the college campuses? They were protesting against Israel and the Jewish students. They were wearing masks. I didn't hear a word about that for these protesters wearing masks. But ICE agents are wearing masks for one reason, because the assault on ICE officers is up over 400%. The assault on ICE officers.
Did everyone hear that? Assault on ICE officers is up to 400%. Has anyone heard any Democrat mention that? Have any concern about that? No, they're only talking about the people who are illegal. I'll continue. Monique said, did they ever find out who left the pallets of bricks? You see my comment, Monique. No, that would be a hard no. Here we go.
They're being doxxed across the country. And their families are being attacked. Their families are being doxxed. Their families are being threatened. And I certainly understand it. I allow death threats. I've been doxxed. My family's been doxxed. I understand it. But they're wearing masks for one reason only: protect themselves and their families. They're doing a dangerous job. This is already a dangerous job. They got to wear a gun. They got to wear a Kevlar vest every day because they're doing a dangerous job every day. While the rest of these people, like Hakeem Jeffries, is sleeping in his bed at night at 3 a.m., nice and comfortably and safe, there's men and women of ICE on the street doing surveillance on significant public safety threats. Really bad characters and national security threats. They're taking it on every day. The men and women of Border Patrol standing on a dirt trail every night, 3 a.m., taking on the bad guy. So this is another threat against ICE agents, and we're asking the Department of Justice to look at these statements and see if there's something we can do. When do you cross that line on threatening ICE officers? And here's the problem. You know, you got all these people now attacking ICE. You saw they're writing death to ICE agents. ICE agents been threatened. Their families been threatened. And you got members of Congress. You got some judges out there that compare ICE to the KKK, ICE to the Nazis. You got city council people saying ICE are terrorists. They're feeding the hatred. And here's my concern. I've been doing this a long time. It's a matter of time before ICE takes a life or an ICE agent loses their life, because the rhetoric is at an all-time high and is being fed by people who should be more responsible, elected officials especially, who keep firing up this rhetoric. I'm telling you, it's coming. There's going to be a tragedy because they keep throwing gas on this flame.
Tom, it's Guy Benson. Good of you to be with us this evening. The U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi just announced yesterday that Kilmar Abrego Garcia, another now familiar name in this whole wider drama, has actually been brought back to the United States after being deported to El Salvador. Here she is detailing his alleged crimes.
Garcia has played a significant role in an alien smuggling ring. They found this was his full-time job, not a contractor. Thousands of illegal aliens were smuggled.
That's right.
This defendant trafficked firearms and narcotics throughout our country.
For Democrats, this is Father of the Year. Boom. Father of the Year, right? Yeah, they're comparing, they're saying that ICE is like the KKK and they're Nazi. These people are nuts. All right, let me continue. You know, Bondi, she's going, they're going to he will be convicted and then re-deported. I love it. All right, let's continue.
And Tom, in spite of these details, some Democrats are still on the bandwagon here, it seems. Watch this.
The Trump administration and all his cronies who should apologize to the country for putting us through this unnecessary situation, and to Abrego Garcia for putting...
The Democrats, this is what I couldn't wait to let you hear this. The Democrats are telling Trump to apologize to Abrego Garcia. Make it make sense. They're telling Trump to apologize to this criminal. Give me your one-word response in the comment section about this. Now this guy, this is Senator Chris Van Hollen, a Democrat from Maryland. People in his district, you need to get rid of this guy. This guy is a nut job. He knows that will never happen. And how dare he? Connie, he was brought back. They're going to try him on all of these very serious charges, and then he'll be redeported. No, Dorian, Trump doesn't owe them anything. He's not apologizing to a criminal. Is he crazy? Right, Connie, I agree. I would have left him over there. Just more money for the taxpayers to spend. Baldwin. So according to the Democrats, ICE is racist for trying to protect the country. Okay, makes sense. Right, Baldwin? Boom. There you go. Here we go.
Him through this situation.
Otherwise, he has a status which is withhold deportation.
Now they're trying to act like he's some kind of drug lord or human trafficker.
So, Tom, I posted this image on X yesterday showing how some in the liberal media just insist on calling him the Maryland man.
So they're not calling him what he is. He's a human trafficker. The drugs. You just heard everything. But this is Father of the Year, according to Democrats. I paused it so that if you wanted to, you could read this here. Yeah, they don't want to say, oh, no, he wasn't an MS-13 gang member. No, he was a contractor. Stop it. Here we go.
For the Maryland father, there's a big exception there on your screen, which is Fox News. And as you just heard in that montage, Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, the biggest cheerleader for this man in Congress, went on national television, if CNN qualifies, and said...
Went on national television. Did you hear the pun? If CNN, the Clinton News Network, if it qualifies, boom. It does not. They're dying just like MSNBC. I'll continue.
That the president of the United States should apologize to Kilmar Abrego Garcia. What's your reaction to that?
Van Hollen's an embarrassment to the halls of Congress. He went over and collared an MS-13 gang member, a designated terrorist, a wife beater, and a public safety threat. And as we continue to do the investigation, now he's a human trafficker who trafficked not just guns and weapons, but people, trafficking of women and children. So he's going to pay. We're going to prosecute him. So we're bringing him back here to prosecute him. We're bringing him back here to put him in prison. Then when he's done in prison, guess what? He'll be deported immediately again. Did any of these people ever meet with Angel, mom and dad? Van Hollen had a young mother with 5 children murdered by an illegal alien. Did he ever meet with them?
Nope.
Did he ever meet with the victims, the hundreds of victims of illegal alien crime? No.
Nope.
He's an embarrassment to the halls of Congress. He's an embarrassment to the position he holds. President Trump don't owe anybody an apology. President Trump in 7 weeks gave us the most secure border in the history of this nation. President Trump is arresting thousands of public safety threats in this country every day.
Yep.
President Trump is making this country safe again, one illegal alien criminal at a time. And like I said, despite what's going on in LA, I'm here now. We're continuing operations today. We're going to do this job every single day. We won't be stopped. President Trump is a game changer. I worked for 6 presidents starting with Ronald Reagan. When it comes to national security, border security, immigration enforcement, public safety, no one has done better than President Trump. His success is unprecedented, not only on the border, but in taking national security threats and illegal alien public safety threats out of this nation. I wake up every day proud to work for President Trump, and we're going to keep doing the job that he promised the American people he would do, and the American people voted for him to do.
That's right.
We're going to keep his promise
That's
to the
right.
American people, no apologies.
And the numbers prove that, Tom. We see that border crossings are down more than 95% without 1 inch of the wall being built as the big, beautiful bill goes through Congress. Rhetoric alone is keeping people coming into this country, and obviously the job you're doing in terms of deportations. We thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, Tom Homan.
Yeah, so I wanted to share that with you. How you doing, Lanita? Monique said it's about to get real. Boom. Monique, it sure is. Lanita says they should keep snatching up folks held and check their citizenship status. I see that FBA are not siding with them. We want them gone too because they're arrogant grifter criminals. Okay, Lanita. Beverly says yes, indeed. Thanks, Tom, and all our ICE agents. Yes, Roland, this is a bloodbath, as Trump said. Yeah. So again, that idiot senator from Democratic senator from Maryland. Oh my God. And of course, this is still ongoing. They're still holding flags from their respective countries. No American flags in sight. So just go ahead and send them back to the country whose flag they're holding. Okay, let me see where we are with this. Okay, I wanted to share. Let's see, did I share everything with you? I was going to share. Okay, Tom Homan pretty much just told you all that, so I don't need to. I don't need to share this article. Okay. Hit that like button for me, please, folks. And if you're enjoying this content, please hit the subscribe button. Now, you know who's upset about Trump sending in the National Guard. We don't give a care. Let me see what else I wanted to share with you. I wanted to share this with you. All right. Share this on your social media pages, folks. Thank you so much. Let me show you this idiot. And you've probably seen him. He's another one of the black gatekeepers. Keith Boykin, another grifter. Listen to what this bum is saying. And notice the words that he and some of these other gatekeepers are using. So they're accusing Trump of sending in the National Guard to try and provoke the protesters. That's what they're saying. Listen to this crap.
A federal building in Los Angeles where Trump's immigration agents have reportedly detained hundreds of people in a basement this week. ICE agents raided several locations here in LA County in the past few days, and protesters have pushed back, prompting Trump to call up the National Guard. But just as we saw with the wildfires in January, there's a lot of misinformation going around, so I want to clear up a few things. Number one, LA is not out of control, and most of the area is not seeing protests.
Okay, so again, they're saying, there's nothing to see here. The pink elephant in the room syndrome, right? They're like, it's not that bad. He's just sending in, he's trying to be a dictator. He's trying to install martial law, all of these things. But the truth. Chubbs, this guy in a cornfield is a scarecrow. Okay, I'll continue.
Los Angeles County is huge, covering more than 4,000 square miles with nearly 10 million residents. It holds the largest population of any county in America. So most LA residents are watching this on TV, not witnessing it in person. Number two, Los Angeles City Mayor Karen Bass is not the mayor of Los Angeles County, where the protest took place Saturday in Paramount. LA County is governed by a separate board of supervisors. The LA City population is 3.8 million people compared to 9.6 million in LA County. That means 60% of the population of this county does not fall under the mayor's jurisdiction. Number three, despite all these high-profile raids with masked ICE agents, the Trump administration is actually deporting fewer people per month.
I'll pause that so you can read that. Now, how many people believe that? You see where he got it from, right? The dying news network. But anyway, I'll continue.
Than the Biden administration did last year. Trump has been slow to release new numbers, but the most recent monthly data shows ICE deported 11,000 people in February of this year compared to 12,000 deported in February 2024 under Biden. And somehow Biden did that without raiding Home Depot parking lots to pick up Hispanic day laborers. That's why White House official Stephen Miller set a new quota for ICE to arrest 3,000 people a day, even though they don't have the capacity to hold them anywhere. Since they don't have the numbers, they've got to create the drama. And we all know Trump loves drama. Number 4, although the convicted criminal in the White House likes to pretend that he's doing all this to keep you safe, most of the people being arrested have no criminal record. Trump officials.
Did you hear that? Did everyone hear that? They accuse us of misinformation and disinformation. What the heck is this guy talking about? Type your comments in the comment section. Pastor Rollins, sorry for the typo. That's okay, Pastor. You're fine, dear. You're fine.
Officials claim otherwise, but their own statistics disprove their argument. In fact, immigrants, including undocumented immigrants, are actually less likely to commit crimes than U.S.-born citizens. What the Trump administration is doing, though, is taking people who were legally residing in the U.S. under presidential orders for temporary protected status, suddenly revoking their status, and then going to their immigration hearings and arresting them as they walk out the door, according to immigration attorney Alan Orr. And then they're stuffing them into overcrowded facilities with no beds and forcing them to sleep on concrete floors. It's all a part of the great stunt queen's campaign to fool his cult followers with shock and awe, especially now that he was forced to return wrongly deported Maryland resident Kilmar Abrego Garcia from El Salvador. And you, the taxpayer, are paying the bill for this charade. So
I don't recall Mr. Boykin saying anything when the Biden-Harris administration squandered billions of American dollars on illegals and sending all that money to the Ukraine. I don't recall him saying anything. But now he's talking about Trump because of Trump being required to bring back Abrego Garcia. Man, stop it. Don't know. Sounds like he has a boyfriend. Darian said he likes Don Lemon. Oh, God. Blexit. Yeah, right. Blexit said he's a lie. You can't tell how much crime they commit because they don't have Social Security number. Blexit. As Lanita, I think I'll pin Lanita's statement. The media is not covering crimes. The crimes that the illegals commit, no, they're not. Period. Lanita says against FBAs and against other people. I was chatting with friends in LA yesterday. They're tired of these folks disrupting their daily lives. So, yeah, this guy's full of it.
So instead of de-escalating, Trump is now calling out the National Guard to provoke a fight. The same guy who refused to lift a finger to stop a deadly insurrection at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th and then pardon the violent criminals who tried to overthrow the U.S. government. This is America.
Okay, so I knew I would get a lot of reactions out of you for this one, for that one. Let me see. All right. So, and they're not, since the National Guard is there, they aren't doing a heck of a lot now. This is the scene right here that you can see. Yeah. Let me see what they're saying here.
About the beanbags, the paintball guns, the tear gas that is dispersed. And it feels like there's a lot of different weaponry and different devices that these tactical gears use. Are they trained in all of them? Are all they similar to use in that regard as well? Because I think we see this potentially a beanbag gun right there pointing at different protesters. Are they all similar to use?
All of these officers are going to be tailored with those weapons or that material or tools, however you want to describe it. But here's the deal. Put in my description for this, but you're going to have a gas person, which is in charge of the gas. The officer's sole purpose is if they need to deploy gas, that's your gas guy. And then you're going to have the less lethal guys, such as beanbag and
Can I ask you, was that a rubber bullet? What was that they were zooming in on the ground?
That was a rubber bullet, yes.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify.
And so Andy Homan struck on those hurt, and it's a huge deterrent, and it's less lethal.
Yeah, that is obviously, I just wanted to ask that because it's so very interesting. If you're never in these protests or haven't seen it or not a member of law enforcement, you might have not seen stuff like this. So you see these different locations right now. I'm not exactly sure what this building is right now, but law enforcement there on the ground. We're also talking about California National Guard. We saw the Los Angeles police, and Pete Hegseth has hinted potentially positioned for Marines to step in. How different would they look? How different would a military grade enforcement look on the ground compared to what we're seeing right now?
And I think if the secretary actually activated the Marines to show up, you're going to know the Marines are there. You know, the Marines.
Blexit said, and I have to say this. Hold on. Where's the comment I said I was going to pin? Okay, there we go. Blexit says, listen to this, folks. My idiot cousin said she was forced to move out of Los Angeles because of Trump instead of Karen Bass. Boom. That's what we're talking about. They're blaming the wrong person. Kelly, how you doing, love? Yes, they are asking for trouble, and Homan's going to give it to them. Idiots. That's what Kelly says. Boom. Bass better never swim in the ocean. A shark might bite her. Okay, Chuck. So this is what they're doing, folks, with the National Guard there. That they're not, you know, I don't think they're going to do as much. So let's see what they're saying here.
That goes through law enforcement's mind?
Without a question, and that's why that
A lot of flags from Mexico, and there was some other.
You have eyes in the skies.
They're
You
trying
see
to
helicopters above, and they're monitoring what the crowd's doing. And that's a cops. Or none of these men and women showed up wanting to get trapped behind the enemy lines, if you will. And we've seen the violence yesterday through a little bit last night. And you know, tempers are high. We've seen some spitting on law enforcement today. So you know, you don't want to get stuck out of place, if you will. And that's why we see when these law enforcement officials move, they move together in unison, almost in a choreographed way, if you will. So they're all together and they stick together.
That is, yeah, that's something you can see. One of those cars backing up there to try to get out of this area, as you can see the protesters congregating here right now. I want to ask you, because I was also in Minneapolis following the death of George Floyd.
Look, where are Blexit? Your cousin moved out of LA and moved to Philadelphia. She moved from the frying pan to the fire. Boom. Who the heck wants to live in Philadelphia? Oh, Kelly said, oh, no, oh my God, not feeling. She put her, sent an emoji with the hand over the face. Blexit. She needs to make better life choices as it refers to moving. Who the heck wants to live in Philadelphia? No way. Pastor Karen Trash needs to go back to where she was when Los Angeles County cities were burning. Pastor, she was in Ghana as LA burned to the ground. That's where she was. Yes. Blexit says she's always been silly. Yeah, Blexit. Get her some psychological help or something. I moved from LA. I'm definitely not moving to Philadelphia. I'm not. Shut that gatekeeper up, right, Robert? So there's not much going on here.
Just expressing their opinion, whether they disagree with what's going on with these.
Look at all those flags. Anyone see any American flags in the crowd? I'll wait. So that's a problem. So show Homan, make sure Homan can see this. Get these people and deport them. Whatever flag that they're holding up, that's where you need to send them. I'm just saying. Anyone here agree with me? I'm asking for a friend. So you want to be here so bad, you left your country, but you're not swinging American flags. That's crazy.
And you know, here's my viewpoint. If you're going to come up with one of these protests, go seek a permit, do it legally so you'll know what to expect and what you're allowed and not allowed to do. But in this case, you know, a lot of this, I saw a post on social media today wanting people to stage in a certain area to go protest. So, you know, like I said, a lot of this is bad actors and influenced by those bad actors that turn this protest into potential violent behavior.
Yeah, and that's a good point, talking about the impeding the flow of traffic. They're blocking off that street right there. I do want to ask you, because we're just getting into our newsroom, and this is a very fluid situation, day 3 of protests in Los Angeles, but you can see from the LAPD Central Division saying the city of Los Angeles is now on tactical alert. Jamie, what does tactical alert? I know maybe different divisions, different cities have different terms, but in terms of tactical alert, what does that mean? What does that entail?
Yeah, essentially, the tactical alert is going to alert all personnel that have gone through the training for that emergency response unit, if you will. It's almost like an all hands on deck. So, and that's funny that announcement came out because it's getting closer to dark, right? We just spoke about that. So, they're putting all personnel on alert to respond to whatever need they need to respond to at that location. So I find that, it's good planning by the commanders and the leaders, but what these people on the street, they have no clue what a tactical alert is about to happen. And I got to tell you, we've seen these cool down very quickly, but as night comes on, you're going to have other groups in other areas, Andy, is my huge concern, that may start these in different parts of the city. And I think that's what that statement was all about.
In terms of the tactical alert from Los Angeles police, what level does that, is there higher levels? Are there higher levels? Are there a multitude higher that they could reach depending on these protests?
I mean, you have to get the use of force matrix. So, you just can't go out and use force unless you're greeted with that force, right? The same force. But I think what the tactical alert is, I think more than likely the commanders are in fear of nightfall. They're in fear of other pockets of protesters or insiders going to other locations in the city outside of from what we're seeing here and starting something in parts of the city where they're not prepared for. So that alert is going to put those men and women on basically on call as needed to potentially respond to areas of the city where this may flare up later tonight. Would be my guess.
Of course. I also want to put up just a post from the LA Times saying the LAPD is now threatening arrests for disobeying lawful orders there on the ground in the intersection of Alameda and Temple. And that could be this intersection we're looking at right now. It's not super clear what the route of egress is for this. How do law enforcement arrest people? How do them, what level does it need to escalate to that they feel like they need to arrest people?
You have that element of law enforcement out holding that line, if you will. We've seen that all afternoon. And what's going to occur is they're going to have an arrest team or multiple arrest teams come in, and that arrest team is going to be behind the main line, standing guard, if you will. And just as we've seen earlier, that agitator, and we don't know exactly what he did, but you saw a number of, I think it was 5 to 8 police officers go through that line and actually go hands-on with that person. So that was the arrest team. What would cause that? Something like we've seen earlier. If it's an agitator that's, perhaps spitting on one of the cops, throwing something, or just being that loud, obnoxious guy wanting to start trouble, that may be a guy they go in and grab for disorderly conduct charge, just to separate him from the protesters to get that agitator away from the crowd.
And again, I'll reiterate, viewer discretion is advised, as some people potentially throwing things at law enforcement right now. They're trying to move through this street, but this street blocking the flow of traffic right now. I want to ask you, because we see different flags and different signs as well, and some of these flags, they are on poles, and that could be a threat to police. How do they view that? How do they view the difference?
Okay, let me read these comments, and then we're going to get out of here. Pastor, you're right. Unfortunately, some people don't want to hear the truth. You're absolutely right. Kelly says, yeah, the fact that Americans are forced to live like that really bothers me. Yeah, Kelly, it does. But here we have people stomping the grounds for illegals to stay. Exactly. Lovely Apple, how you doing, love? Coming to a city near you, New York, Chicago, everywhere. Lovely Apple. Not if Homan has something to say about it. Hit the like button for me, please, lovely Apple. We're glad you made it. So we're pretty much here at the end. I just wanted to come on and share a little info with you. Let me go ahead. I'll go ahead and the video. This is a segue to the video that I did on Saturday evening. So if you missed that, we started talking about, you know, the violent riots erupting, and the governor of California is saying, "Oh, there's nothing to see here." You know, we didn't need National Guardsmen, right, Pastor Collins? And so, but yeah, this is what's going on. And with the, I'm thinking with the guardsmen there, if things get too out of control, well, hey, they'll be handled accordingly. So, that's all I have. I'll probably be live. I don't know, Thursday. I'm thinking unless something, you know, unless something happens, you know, I'll jump on if something really significant happens. But if not, hey, on the first part of the journey, I was looking at all the life. Let's see who knows the song I'm singing. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There were sand and hills and rings. The first thing I met was a fly with a buzz and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. You see, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to get out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La, 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 la. That's from the group America, 1971. Woo! All right. I thought I'd give you a little something. You know, I love the classics here. So, yeah, we see what's going on here. Say nothing major. Yeah, let me see. I'll give you a little volume, and then we'll get out. Let me see if they're saying anything different.
But do police officers, potentially people are in the tactical unit, do they have military backgrounds? Is that something that aligns up, that people that maybe have stepped out of the military that ended their...
Lovely Apple, you like it? Oh, okay. Yes, Lion. Lovely Apple says I'm funny. Okay. Pastor Rollins, black men are probably finding a game to watch. Anyone with more than 2 brain cells is not going out there in that crowd. Thank you, Miss Rowland. Great. We love you too, Connie. Yeah. So that's where we are, folks. We'll see what happens. Thank you, Chubbs. Thunder only happens when it's raining. Players only love you when they're playing. All right, Connie. Connie's saying goodbye. Connie, thanks for dropping in. Love you. Were here yesterday too. Tube Steak. I dropped the link. The link I just dropped, again, that was from Saturday. So check that video out. It's doing really well. And please hit that little thumb, the like button. I really appreciate your support. Tube Steak, nothing about Joe's auto pen pardons to those who had not been convicted. Okay, Tube Steak. Blexit, Trump needs to deploy the National Guard to Chicago. Yes. Citizen Kane says, ciao. Ciao, Bella. All right. Thank you, Citizen Kane, for dropping in. Again, if you weren't here Saturday, do me a favor, check out Saturday's video. I dropped the link for you, right? And I don't see these protests stopping. The wheel in the sky keeps on turning. Don't know where I'll be tomorrow. So yeah, that's all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed you. If you enjoy this channel, JB Pritzker will be reporting. Black Sid, get rid of the bum. Pritzker needs to go. Brandon Johnson needs to go. Oh my God. Deport them too. Just get them out of here. Get all of these sellouts, these Marxists, get them out of here. Okay? Get them out. Lovely Apple says, yes. Get these people out of here. Vote for some people who are going to help you in your district. Get these Marxists out of here. They're not doing anything for you. Stop voting for them, folks. None of us here, but you know what I'm saying. So I enjoyed you, and I hope that you'll check out the yesterday's video. Again, I dropped it. That link I dropped is from Saturday. If you check it out, whenever you have time, hit that little thumb. The more people hit the little thumb, YouTube shares it with more people. So help me out with that. I appreciate it. And I tell people, I know some of the videos are an hour, 2 hours long. I know sometimes you don't have that kind of time. Sometimes, hey, just check out 5 or 10 minutes of it. We're all busy. I know to sit down and watch something for an hour or 2 hours, most of us don't have that kind of time. But hey, 5 or 10 minutes and hit that like button. Woohoo, I'll take it. So enjoy. You too, Lovely Apple. Okay, Lovely. Yes, Lovely. You see where I dropped it? Just click on that link. It'll take you straight to the video, dear, and hit that little thumb. Thank you so much, love. And Lovely Apple, drop in some more. I don't know. I'll be live. Normally, my schedule is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But if something happens on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, I will jump on. YouTube doesn't show for some reason when I'm live. So you just have to type in my channel name and see if I'm live. Usually when I'm live, it's after 5 o'clock because I'm off from work. Okay. Usually I go live between 6, 6:30, 7 o'clock. Those are my usual times. So if you jump on YouTube, just check to see if I'm live. And I enjoyed you, and I want everyone to be safe. And I hope to talk to you for a while in the comment section, because you know that's where I'm going next. Thank you again for spending your very valuable time here at the Roland's Reviews YouTube channel. I'm coming to talk to you right now. Okay, Lovely, you did hit your notification. Okay, perfect. I'll come and talk to you as long as you are in the comment section. Thank you.